Good morning. We'll close our eyes and we become aware of the breath. So the same things again and again with these practices. The closing of our eyes to bring the attention inward, to become more connected to the inner experience. And then the noticing of the breath, and the breath is that beautiful mechanism that connects the inside and the outside. It comes from the outside to the inside. It is a way in which we're connected to the bigger tapestry of life. The breath has a rhythm to it. So we attune ourselves, our awareness, our attention, and so much of our struggle, so much of where we get lost is the attention running off, going off to all these places of getting fragmented, getting fearful, getting absorbed in other areas of our lives, other areas of the world. So the practice is this invitation just to come home. And in one sense, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. But we know from the messiness of our minds that it's not an easy practice. And in fact, we could go as far as to say in the world we live in, it's a radical practice. And of course, we're looking for a sense of ease or a sense of calmness, a regulation of our nervous systems. And all of those are part of what we begin to taste through the practice. But we're also just attuning to what is here. And when we are orientated primarily to the outside world, we miss a lot of ourselves, our capacity to be present in a fuller way. And it's the idea that as we practice and practice and practice, as we do these, there is a richness waiting for us. And the path and the journey are absolutely not easy ones. So much so that we have created all these mechanisms in our lives to distract us from what we weren't able to process when we had experiences that were difficult, particularly in our childhood. We set ourselves up, we create these identities, these defense mechanisms, these ways of coping and strategizing. But it's as if all of those are in some way the programs that we run and not the essence of what we are. So our work, our endeavor, our exploration is into what am I? What is this experience? What are the depths that I can drop into? And the reason we explore these is, one, because each of us as a human being has a yearning, has an inherent yearning to know this space within ourselves, to know ourselves fully. That as we practice, as we teach ourselves to quieten and to quieten and to quieten and to observe and to notice, that there is deep wisdom within each of us, profound wisdom within each of us. In all of the spiritual traditions, in their mystical essence, point toward this deeper sense of oneness, of connection. And to the mind, it's It's a concept, it's an idea, but to the felt experience, it's something much richer and something much deeper, and can only be understood by going there. And in that place, there is everything that we are carrying. There is our capacity to be in every and any state simultaneously. And yet, even as we open to what is there for us, we are also developing the container, or beginning to identify with the container that can hold the full experience with some quality of equanimity. So deep within us, there is this capacity to allow. You think of that word unconditional, that quality of the heart, that unconditionality of the heart. So our eyes are closed. We notice the breath. And then just have a sense, or even ask yourself internally, how am I in this moment, this morning? How am I? And you just wait and you listen. And maybe an answer comes, or maybe no answer comes. Maybe there's a quietness, maybe there's whatever there might be there. You just allow it to be there. If an emotion needs to arise, it needs to arise. If that emotion needs expression, you give it expression. And it's somewhat paradoxical in that we're stopping. We're becoming still in order to facilitate movement, internal movement. So whatever needs to move through our system has permission to do that. And begin to breathe a little bit more deeply. We'll keep it all very comfortable, but the inhales are deeper, the exhales are equally longer. And you're breathing through the nose if you can. And it's almost like you're breathing in slow motion, just slow and even and steady. You let your belly relax and your shoulders drop. Slow, deep breath. Could you go slightly deeper with the inhale and longer with the exhale? Could the breath become more even? You pause at the top of the next inhale for a couple of seconds. And then also a pause at the end of the exhalation. Keep bringing the attention back to the breath, back to the space between the breath. 3 more rounds of this breath. And you just observe as you come back to the natural breath. You just notice the quality of the internal experience. So with working with the breath, there is the physiological rewiring that we're creating. But maybe more importantly is simply taking this time for ourselves. Because what we're saying is that we're worthy of attending to ourselves. We're worthy of our own attention. We're listening to ourselves. You know, you think of if you had a friend who needed to communicate, needed to talk, needed to share something, to be able to offer them your awareness and your presence. So we do that for ourselves. We take responsibility that we are the ones that are ultimately in charge of our internal world. Although we mightn't have gotten connection, witnessing, presence, love, care when it was needed, ultimately it's our responsibility to bring that to ourselves. And that's where healing happens. That's where our capacity to process happens. That's where we turn pain into beauty, into depth, into wisdom. And each of us, step by step, is on this journey. So we bring the left hand over the center of the chest and the right hand then over the left hand. Notice the beat of your heart. Notice that you're holding yourself. The hands are holding the heart. I'm holding myself. And then to ourselves, to each other, to this morning, we'll bow our heads. Bhakti. Blessings. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a beautiful day. See you Wednesday.